Did Gavin Newsom commit a crime by accepting a gun out of state as a gift and not complying with the various draconian gun laws that he himself signed into effect in California? Coming up, we release a letter we just sent off to the California Attorney General calling for a full legal review. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator. Let me tell you right up front that I vehemently oppose Gavin Newsom's insane, draconian, unconstitutional, and unsafe anti-gun laws. I have from the beginning. Democrats continue to blame the gun versus going after what's driving violence in our society, a lot of which they have facilitated with their extreme far-left policies. But in this episode, we're going to explore the stench of hypocrisy. And we're going to question whether Gavin Newsom violated any of the various draconian, confusing, burdensome anti-gun laws that he himself put into effect as it relates to a gift that he was given last week out of state while recording a podcast. Before we get into the controversy and the letter that I sent off to the Attorney General of the state of California and the Trump administration's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, reminder, we are fighting to take back our state, not only from these anti-gun politicians like Gavin Newsom, but the full range of bad policies that they've imposed upon us. The high taxes, the costly mandates that destroy jobs, the crazy curriculum in the classroom that hurt our kids. All of these things need to change in California. We can get back the California we were once so proud of, but it's going to take you and I working together in the streets as part of a grassroots movement. So go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org, and sign up. We issue a voter guide every single election, the election that's coming up in June of 2026 and then November of 2026. We give you the plain English description of every ballot measure on the ballot. And you know how the politicians love to put false and misleading titles on ballot measures to confuse and deceive voters. But we also rank and evaluate and endorse candidates for almost every office, from judges to school board candidates all the way up to Congress and, of course, the state legislature. You're not going to get that voter guide unless you're tethered into our growing movement across the state. So go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, and sign up at the bottom of that website, first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code, and you'll be tethered into our growing movement. Plus, please chip in a contribution while you're there to put fuel in the tank of the movement we're leading. So this past week, Gavin Newsom sat down with conservative podcaster Sean Ryan, but he flew to Tennessee to Sean Ryan's studio to tape the podcast episode. We covered some of the nonsense in the podcast episode in a previous edition of my show here. This, though, is about the gift that Newsom got, and he was all trying to be cool and pretend like, oh man, I'm bro-tastic. I'm not anti-gun. See, I'm willing to touch it. Anyway, so here is the exchange. Get ready for your barf bag, and then I'll tell you why Newsom has some problems legally with his own laws now in the state of California.
Last thing people would expect is that I respect this gift.
Ready for this?
This is an accident. I got to report this gift, man.
That is a California compliant, 6 hour P365 macro.
This is too cool. The fact that you would give me this. You just want TSA to take this from me and not arrest me? The airport. I'm on to you, man.
I got a buddy at SIG, and now he was like, you got to get a SIG in his
You
hands.
can't even make this up.
Jason.
Brother, this is fabulous. I'm not anti-gun at all. I'm for just some gun safety, common sense. I'm challenged by large capacity magazine clips in urban centers, weapons of war, sometimes outgunning the police. But otherwise, man, people have the right to bear arms, and I've got no ideological opposition to that at all. By the way, you gave me a damn gun, so as we move to part 2, here's the bear.
Thank you.
Legit. I mean, I know it's not, sidearm.
Hey, that's all right. I got plenty of those.
Oh, God. All right. I told you, get the barf bag out. I'm not anti-gun. I'm worried about TSA. You should be more worried about all the crazy laws that you imposed in California that, yes, prove that you are indeed anti-gun. Now, mind you, Gavin Newsom's laws that are anti-gun in California have been repeatedly challenged in court and overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. And yet, Newsom and the Democrats continue to pass the same unconstitutional laws. They're literally openly, wantonly breaking the law. When they say, well, Trump is saying he's going to ignore court rulings. Bitch, please, you've been ignoring court rulings on religious freedom, on freedom of speech, on the right of self-defense, due process, the entirety of constitutional rules. I've not seen a more lawlessly run state and more abuses of civil rights and constitutional rights than what I see here in the state of California. But I digress. So Newsom is given this gun. The podcast is posted. And then some people who are really familiar with gun laws start asking questions, and they're not getting responses. In fact, we're getting evasive answers from Gavin Newsom. I'll tell you what he had to say, but here is the requirements. I sent a letter today to Attorney General Rob Bonta and Pam Bondi, both the California Attorney General and the Attorney General of the United States of America, asking them for legal assistance, urgent, emergency, much needed legal assistance for Governor Gavin Newsom to help navigate Governor Gavin Newsom's own draconian firearm laws. We put out a press release. Gavin Newsom stops Gavin Newsom from accepting gun gift. Anyway, so I kind of tee it up to what I've already explained to you, that he was on the podcast. And I say, I think he has to understand that TSA is not his biggest challenge. His biggest challenge is accepting a gun out of state and bringing it back to California. And some of the issues that he now would have to struggle with are some of these questions that I laid out in the memo. I say, hey, you should really look into this matter and give Gavin Newsom advice, but also ask him what he's already done, which would be an investigation. Because if he's already violated these laws, he's violated the laws. You can't go back and undo it. You're pregnant. First question, was the firearm transferred from a federally licensed dealer in Tennessee to a federally licensed dealer in California? Did you know that you just can't take a gun as a gift from someone in another state and say, oh, wow, I can't pack this in my bag getting through the airport. Duh. So what I'll do is I'll just mail it to myself, put it in a FedEx box, maybe insure it, pad it up a bit, send it off. Most common sense people would think, well, that's what I do. No, not in California, not in the United States of America. So those rules would have to be complied with. Did he do it? Next, if the firearm was not transferred the legal process going through a dealer and Governor Newsom took the firearm back to California with him, has he violated both federal and state law, which required out-of-state transfer of a handgun to be conducted through a licensed California firearms licensee? Did Gavin Newsom undergo a background check? Oh, that's right. California requires a pretty detailed background check. Did Gavin Newsom go through a background check? Let me just say, we got a dirt file on Gavin Newsom here at Reform California. We'd love to be part of that background check investigation. Next, has Governor Newsom completed and submitted a federal 44733 form? Has he completed a California dealer record of sale, DROS, for the transfer? Did he do a 10-day cooling off period? Does Governor Newsom have a current California issued firearms safety card? If not, has he taken and passed the California firearms safety test? If the gun purchase was considered new, did Governor Newsom pay the required 11% firearms accessory tax to the dealer? Did Newsom transport the firearm unloaded and in a locked, hard-sided case from the California airport to his home? Now, he didn't have to do this in Tennessee, but he most certainly had to do it here in the state of California. If Governor Newsom did not personally bring the firearm back into California, who did? Where's the gun now? In what manner was the gun brought into California? Was the gun lawfully transferred to a California FFL? Did Governor Newsom acquire any ammunition from out of state and bring it back into California? If so, was it also transferred through a California FFL? Is the firearm being stored inoperable or in a gun safe so it is inaccessible to children? Can Governor Newsom produce the required receipt or other required safe affidavit that California law requires, stating that he owns a proper gun lock and gun safe? Was Governor Newsom under the influence of any controlled substances, including marijuana, at the time that he took ownership of the firearm? And if you watch the podcast, I would think you could make a case that he was on something pretty good. It takes a lot to look right in the camera and just lie. Anyways, so these were just some of the laws and issues that I think the Attorney General, both Attorney Generals, federal and state, should look into, because we wouldn't want Gavin Newsom to violate Gavin Newsom's laws, would we? We wouldn't want to see him prosecuted criminally and lose his various freedoms. No, we wouldn't want that at all. Would we? Anyways, so yes, I am being cheeky here, but it's a learning moment for everyone, because most people would think, oh, he gets a gun. The real focus is he anti-gun? Does he not want to touch it? No, he's like, oh man, no, I'm so pro-gun. Yeah, look at me. I'm so cool. It's right. The bigger issue is, do you understand how complicated it is for a Californian to simply exercise their Second Amendment rights? All these mandates, all these rules and regulations, which really criminals do not comply with. Let's just be very clear. This does not prevent crime. I will tell you this right now, not a single element of this, any of these requirements, do anything to impact crime at all. Meanwhile, Democrats are out there funding left-wing groups to foment crime, releasing criminals back onto the streets. They're not prosecuting criminals. They opposed Prop 36. So when they say, oh, we have to pass gun laws to keep people safe, bitch, please, you guys are the ones with the blood on the hands. Your policies lead to a crime wave and so many crime victims. So don't tell me that you want people to be more safe, because your policies are doing anything but that. So the first thing is I wanted to point out the complexity. The second thing, I really wanted to show that this guy's a phony, because when these questions started coming up, Newsom quickly, because he's sitting there saying, oh yeah, man, thanks for the gift. Yeah, thanks, man. I like this. I'm not anti-gun. I'm okay having this. I'm okay accepting it. Oh, I'm gonna have to report it. When he said report it, he didn't mean about his various gun laws. He meant report it as a gift. As a politician, when they get gifts, and they get lots of millions and millions of dollars of gifts, it's a dirty secret in Sacramento. But all they have to do is report it publicly. Oh, I got a gift, and there would be some sort of value for this firearm. He has to ask what the fair market value would be, what the purchase price was, whether that tax was paid or not. But he would report the value. Well, guess what? He accepts it on air, because he's clearly accepting it. He's getting value out of accepting it on air for a PR purpose. So he has now accepted the gift. He didn't say, oh, no, I can't accept that. No, I don't want that gun because it's going to be hard for me to get it back to California. And he says, oh, I have to figure out how to get it through TSA. But what we have learned is that Governor Newsom, ready for this, declined the gift. But under Form 700 rules from the State of California Fair Political Practices Commission, because there's value in him pretending like he took the gift on air, political value, he's pregnant. He accepted the gift. I'll leave it to the lawyers to figure out, but that's just the beginning of Gavin Newsom's slip-ups here. I don't think any of these laws really are needed when it comes to fighting crime. I think what we need to do is protect people's Second Amendment rights to self-defense by reforming these laws. And this is why this is a very opportune time to shine a light on Gavin Newsom's hypocrisy, maybe even get him indicted. Wouldn't that be nice? At Reform California, we are the ones looking out for exposing Gavin Newsom's failures. If you go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, you'll find a campaign. It's called Expose Gavin Newsom. Oh, yeah, I wasn't joking when I said we are building a dirt file on Gavin Newsom. He's running for president, if you don't know. And the more we can gather on his failures, his corruption, his misdeeds, and get it out there to voters across the country, the better off our country will be to prevent him from ever stepping foot in the White House. We know as Californians just how wretchedly bad an individual he is, how inept he is, how corrupt he is, how much he has failed. The American people don't. And that's why we need to warn them with our Expose Gavin Newsom campaign. I'm Carl DeMaio. Until next time, get involved in the fight at reformcalifornia.org. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.